Well, hello once again.
Good morning.
Hello there.
Save the hand claps for later there, Jordan. Glad to have everybody here in Bible class with us, and we're moving further in John chapter 21, picking up in verse 3. So we have Jesus having shown himself already to his apostles, but it's also a mixed crowd. It's not just the 10, Thomas being missing, and then the 11, Thomas showing up and helping to reaffirm and reestablish their faith and belief in who he is, and that as he promised, he was going to return from the dead. Not only returning from the dead, but as is recorded by Matthew in his record, Mary being sent back to the 10 and telling them to wait in Galilee, and that is where Jesus was going to return so as to show himself to them. And that's where John 21 opens. And if you remember last time, while we were closing John 20, John chapter 20, verse 30 and 31, and many other signs truly did Jesus in the presence of his disciples, which are not written in this book, but these are written that you might believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that believing you might have life through his name. And we raise the question, well, if these things that are written up to this point are the things that are needed so as to have this belief that Jesus is the Christ, he is the Son of God, why do we have chapter 21?
The epilogue.
Okay, what does that mean?
The ending.
No.
There was the prologue and then the epilogue. It's the... God. Say it again.
Application.
Say it louder.
Application.
Okay. So an epilogue, hey, is what wraps everything up. You read the preface to gain an insight of, okay, here's where we're going. Here's what this material is about. Epilogue puts a bow on it. Here's what we talked about. But then also with this is application of that very thing. That belief, we are going to see it in practice and to see it in action with these apostles in chapter 21. So after these things, Jesus showed himself again to the disciples at the Sea of Tiberias, and on this wise showed he himself. We mentioned we're not in Jerusalem anymore, but we're back to the Sea of Galilee. So we're not at Jerusalem, which at this stage is you can mark it down as this. It's a forsaken place and has been abandoned and left to its own delusions. But now we're back in Galilee. What significance would there be to have the apostles waiting for him in Galilee and for him to make his return into this place?
Where he started?
Okay, it's where he started. Here is the place of Jesus opening up his ministry and in opening up his work. Galilee was where he had ordered the disciples to wait for him, and with his coming that he would meet them. It was the place that he had drawn all of his disciples, aside from, as we mentioned, Thomas and Judas for that matter. And it's also the place where Jesus was having some of his greatest achievements, where he had the most popularity and the most acceptance. And Capernaum was his home base of operation. Well, that's up here in this area of Galilee. And it was the place where he had calmed the sea after he had been awakened. Matthew chapter 8, verses 22 and 27. It's also the place where Jesus came walking to them on the water and saying, "It is I, be not afraid." John chapter 6 and verse 19. So certainly it was a place of trials and it was also a place of turmoil. But what else do you have there?
His family.
Well, family, but
The beginning of belief.
okay.
Peter almost had faith when he's walking on the water.
Yeah. Contrast turmoil, tribulation. What's the opposite?
Goodness.
There's calm. There's peace. There's good memories here. And what better place to have a reunion than in this area where so much good could be remembered and be reflected on. So the scenes around the Galilean Sea would vividly remind them of the many miracles and the many discourses, teachings that they had received. So there'd be a quiet recollection in their education. And, this also sets a different scene from where we were before at Jesus' first appearing, or before his first appearing. Before Jesus shows up the first time, where are the apostles and what are they doing?
Fishing. Oh.
The first time.
They're spread out. They're not.
Mm-mm.
They're in the room, aren't
What do
they?
you want us to say?
Fear of the Jews.
The right answer. Rachel has it.
They're in the room together for fear of the Jews.
Okay. Huh? What's the last part?
For fear of the Jews.
Okay. They're in a room hiding from the Jews. Jesus shows up twice. Now where are they?
Out and about and around.
Okay, they're out in public and they're moving around. Out on the sea. Here's the reason for chapter 21. Look at all the change that's transpiring. And that because of belief. And that's what faith, belief in Christ, is supposed to do. It is supposed to create a world of change in us. And even these little changes, that we might just read through this and just, okay, they moved from one place to the other. That's a big deal. These are big steps that are being made. And they are important steps for considering where the apostles are going to end up being in just a short little while. From here, we're going to move from the Sea of Galilee to the steps of the temple. How did we get there? It's these little steps. 40 days worth of growth to get them where they are to where they need to be. And all that's being accomplished by belief that Jesus is the Christ, He is the Son of God. So we have being presented to us, quiet recollection is going to be part of the education that they're needing so as to perform the responsibilities of their work. So we move on from that description to an unsuccessful fishing trip. Verse 3, Simon Peter saith unto them, I go a-fishing. They say unto him, we also go with thee. They went forth and entered into a ship immediately, and that night they caught nothing. So here they are, and they're waiting for more instructions. From what we're able to gather from Acts chapter 1, verses 1 through 3, you have 40 days where Jesus was involved in speaking to them things pertaining to the kingdom of God. Luke chapter 24 also records how it is that in Jesus speaking to them, the statement is made how that He made revelation to them, that He opened their understanding. And while they're waiting, they're needing to be sustained. So what do? All right, they go back to their old profession. And with this old profession, something that they were skilled at performing, they go out with no success. In verse 4, But when the morning was now come, Jesus stood on the shore, but the disciples knew not that it was Jesus. Then Jesus saith unto them, Children, have you any meat? They answered him, No. He said unto them, Cast the net on the right side of the ship, and ye shall find. They cast therefore, and now they were not able to draw it for the multitude of fishes. Why do you think this is here? Why do we have this account of the fishing trip?
Has this happened before?
Aha. It has happened before. Did you remember that on your own, or she whispered to you?
No.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, if you've read the other accounts, this is a repeat. This is something almost with them not recognizing who it is. If you were there, you might say, wow, this feels like deja vu. So we are in fact establishing this is not just being recorded for the simple fact of, well, here's what happened. And here's just this neat little event that John is recording just for the sake of recording it. There is a reason for why this is here. So before we start going into breaking it down, now that we've established that there is a reason, let's let you cogitate a bit on it. What lessons do you think are here for them and even for us? Of them going out, not being able to, they're fishing all night, not able to catch something. Jesus shows up. Have you caught anything? Does he not know? Does he really not know? Oh no, he knows. Well, why is he asking? There's a reason behind that. And then even telling them, we'll cast it on the right side. And then they caught a multitude of fish to the degree that the nets are fixing to break. So what's the lesson?
My thought is, sometimes it doesn't work over here. We're supposed to be fishers of men, not just casting your line one place and hoping that you're going to catch something. But try different things. Try it over here, try it over there, and keep going. Don't lose hope.
Okay. All right, that's good. Anything anybody want to tack on top of that?
Well, just to add on top of what Bruce just said, he does say you will become fishers of men in Luke's account of beginning when that happened.
All right. What else you got?
Well, they were hiding and staying in one place.
Move the mic. Yeah, just hand it forward.
Here you go.
It doesn't matter.
They were staying in that one place hidden, and essentially they need to be going out into different areas trying to help, and so kind of like maybe that's a part of it as well. So they're fishing in one area, but they should be going out towards others.
Okay. Can't hear you.
And you need to listen to what Jesus says and where to go.
Aha. Okay.
Go where Jesus says to go.
All right. So there's a big element to it also. All right. Jamie, you're the only one that hasn't added anything. Oh, I'm sorry. No, you brought up the Luke 5.
The only other thing I would say, and I'm not sure because I didn't hear Christina, and it's just encompassing obedience, faith, those basic principles.
Okay.
Right here.
Peace.
Huh?
Peace.
What do you mean?
I'm just thinking that there's peace with Jesus, that he's going to take care of them.
Aha.
Whether it's physical or spiritual.
All right.
Peace.
Okay, good.
Man, there's like 3 more people that need to speak up.
Well,
As far as the right
Or-
side, you can go right, toes left, or right, wrong. So instead of going go the right way, not the wrong way.
possibly. All right, so in slowing down and even with the study process, This is what we've got to do. This is what you've got to do on your own. And that what we're having in these conversations with each other, that's the kind of conversation you need to have with yourself. And asking yourself these questions. Well, what's going on here? And as we've studied through John, the reason why we have these signs recorded is because there is meaning behind the sign. And that's true here. When they believed and when they obeyed him, they would be blessed. Now, here's the crazy thing about it is that they're doing this without even knowing that it is Jesus. So that shows a big element of change also. There's no rebuttal. There's no argument. Well, who are you to give us such advice? It is very easy for the ego to kick in. For Peter, as brash as he is, to shout back to the shore, I've been a fisherman for however many years. Who are you to tell me?
No, you shut up.
Yeah. What's your name? Who are you to tell me how to go about catching fish? They were willing and able to take advice from a complete stranger. That's humility.
Well, I would say that's also his growth, because when you go back to Luke 5, he does kind of argue and give, a defense when he's told to put it in. He says, but we've been toiling all night
Okay.
long and we didn't get anything.
All right.
So he's arguing then, he's not now.
Okay, so that's good. The similar account is found in Luke chapter 5. So here they are at the beginning of Jesus calling them. They're out fishing in their similar situation. And just notice the change in character. They fished all night, not caught anything. Well, do this. And they want to argue. Now here they are at the end of everything. We'll cast on the right side. No argument. Okay, we'll do that. What a difference. And that's the kind of difference that the cross is supposed to implement in our lives.
Couple of things here. First of all, you're out all day doing this. You're just tired. You're angry, frustrated, all these different things.
Yep.
And then, second of all, you're on. I don't know how big the boat was, but what difference does it make to just do one side or the other?
Okay.
The fish are down there anyways.
Right.
So why would it matter to throw it on one side or the other? It's this little bit of change that can make the difference of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Which is baptism.
Okay. All right. So we're gaining deeper application from this. And that it... Well, we'll save that for when we get there.
We'll get there when we get there.
But then it's also, and I think Reese brought this up, it's also the reminder that in their work, there would be disappointments. There would be failures. There would be discouragement. Okay, here they are. They're fishermen by trade. Fishing all night, and they did not catch a thing. How embarrassing. But sometimes that's just how it goes. And we have here an example of if you work, if you toil without fainting, if you do not grow weary in well-doing, you will be blessed. Here they are all night, like Reese said, tired, frustrated. All these fleshly and carnal things are able to get in the way, and then somebody shows up and says, well, just cast it out one more time. All right, we're not going to give up. We'll do that. And as they are going to fish for men, sometimes they are going to come up empty. All right, don't give up. Cast your net out one more time. And that is especially important for us today, because when we do something that is kingdom related, how fast do we expect results?
Well, that's what fruit is.
Okay.
It's the number of people that you get.
Right.
Right away.
All right, immediately. But even with what Reese mentioned, we're dealing with fruit. We're trying to produce fruit. How fast does fruit grow?
Slow.
Slow. It's a process. Well, how's it going to be fishing for men? It's going to be slow. Some days you're going to cast out, you're not going to catch anything. All right, you go cast out somewhere else. Go fish another spot. And then maybe a little bit later you can come back to that spot and throw your net out and be able to catch something. But even with this depiction and going out fishing, not catching anything, people that are avid fishermen, how do they feel about fishing even when they don't catch anything?
They go back out and do it again.
They don't care. What's the
again.
saying?
I don't know.
What's the saying about a bad day of fishing?
It's a good day at work.
Still better than a good day at work. Why? Because you're doing something that you enjoy. Now, how does that fit into what we're doing?
Do we enjoy what we're doing?
We need to be enjoying what we're doing. Fishing, most people, even though there is a good bit of work involved in it, they do that for recreation. They do it for enjoyment. Get you outside, get you doing something different. For most, it's an opportunity you're able to disengage your brain and just disconnect from problems. Well, that's what kingdom work should be for us. Let me set aside these earthly frustrations, these earthly complications that I have going on around me, and let me go out and do something that can bring some enjoyment and some fulfillment. And that's trying to help somebody. So we're only a few verses in, and just look at how much is here. How much there is to contemplate on. But to build further on the premise and the idea that Jamie brought up, here we have been given to us an illustration of what happens when people follow the commands that Jesus gives. When they followed what he said, there was success. There was reward. And here's a crucial point in moving forward in our studies, and even as we're looking at Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. When Jesus says something, he expects us to follow it. Now, he's not going to make us. He's not going to force us. He's just going to throw it out there. You can do it or you won't. But if you're not going to do it, you're not going to receive what's there. They had fished all night, caught nothing. Then Jesus says, well, put your net on the right side. Well, what good would that do? We've been fishing all around this boat. What's so special about the right side? Nothing. There's nothing more special about the right side than the left side, or even from the front, from the back. What made it special? Jesus said, here's where you throw your net in. So where do you think we're heading with that?
I think Mom already said it.
Yeah, your mom's already brought it up. When it comes to anything that the Lord commands, we're not needing to get into a system in our thinking to where we just start psychoanalyzing, that we've got to get overly critical and trying to break down every single element about it to understand what the significance of it is. And that is part of the instruction that Paul is giving to the Roman brethren in Romans chapter 7 through chapter 9 about God's choosing of certain things or certain people to have things done. The point of that is God just simply chooses who He chooses. Why did He choose Jacob over Esau? Was Jacob better than Esau? Nope. Not one bit. So why choose him? Just because. Why choose Abraham? Or Abram when he was first chosen? Was Abram any better than everybody else? No. Abram's family were idolaters. Why choose him? Because God could. Why choose the right side from the left side? Because God could. Why choose baptism? Why choose immersion in water to be the act in which God removes sins? Well, it's because water represents this and it can stand in the place of this and you have this connection and that. Nope. God could have said, go out and be immersed in goat milk if He wanted to. Well, why goat milk? Why would that be better than water? Well, here's all the properties of goat milk and blah, blah, blah. None of that. It's simply the fact that God said it.
He would have said sheep milk.
Huh?
He would have said sheep milk.
You probably would have told people to do an ice bath or something.
Right. That's okay. That's exactly where I was going next. Naaman had that exact dilemma in his thinking. Go wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan. And what did his earthly mind, his physical mind, start trying to reason through?
It's dirty.
This place is dirty. It's filthy. Aren't there better rivers? More clean rivers? Sure there are. But you wouldn't have gotten what God was willing to give if you went anywhere else. Well, Jordan is just so important because, this is where they crossed over going to the promised land. This is, here's where it's talked about all throughout the scriptures. Nope, none of that. Just the fact He said, this is where you go.
And there's probably that element of it's going to challenge you to,
For sure.
have to listen
Yep.
and humble yourself.
Yep.
Just like the apostles are. David had to do that.
Yep.
Why choose that? Well, it's going to cause you to have to grow.
Yep. It's changing your perspective on things. Well, if God is going to do something, He's got to use this special holy element. Nope. The way God operates is He uses the baser things. He uses the lesser things. Well, if God is going to change the world, surely he would choose ambassadors from the class of the Pharisees because they're wise. They've been well instructed. But then who does God choose to carry out the cause of his church and his kingdom?
Oh, fishermen.
I almost said a bad word. We'll go with Jordan. Poor fishermen. Stoopid. That's who he chooses. So now what about this? You do not need to stick your nose up at the things that God says you need to do. What about when it comes to singing the way God says to sing? Well, you know, it would sound so much better if we had this. What makes singing better than the playing of instruments? It's because God said that's what you're supposed to do. And part of the problem that we're having today is that most of the religious world are not following these points of application that we're gaining here in John 21. They're out here trying to do what they know to do, and they've been doing it all night with no success. All right, let's do it the way Jesus says to do it. And you have success. Just follow what God says. You will have success. Well, if we want to have a successful church, we need to bring in all this different kind of stuff and do it all. Nope. Just do it the way God said to do it. And you'll have success. And even when it comes to the drawing in of the nets and bringing in the fish, does that mean you keep all the fish?
Nope.
No. In Matthew's account, in the section of the parables, oh man, I keep forgetting. I thought it was 13. It's either 13. My brain always jumps between 13 and 23. But I think you're right, 13.
23 is the Pharisee.
Right, yeah. So 13. Jesus has already given a parable that the kingdom is like the letting down of a great net, drawing it up, and you're bringing a huge catch of fish. And then he gives the illustration that you're going to separate those fish. So even when you have a good catch, you're not going to keep everybody. Because you're going to have fish that are brought in and they're not wanting to do what the master says.
Which is the wedding feast.
Which is the wedding feast. The man that's brought in without a wedding garment.
What was that? Is it Matthew that you guys were just saying?
Yeah.
Matthew what?
We're saying that's in 13, but somebody can double check us.
So it is good enough. Just tell your kids because I said so.
For a time. For a time.
But even with all of this that we're going over, the singing, why is singing important? I almost sent another thing to you with the, I don't know if it was Fresh Life. Yeah, it was Fresh Life. They're putting on some singer that's this big guy, but he's up on a stage and there's a bunch of people there and there's the fog machines. There's the concert going on that's drawing in. And then the question is, where's your focus at? Is it really for God? Yeah, you're saying these words towards God, but you're getting the glory. And you're just this star that everyone wants you to come and play the concert around all these different quote unquote churches.
Yeah.
And does God really ask us to do that? And then the rebuttal would be, well, this is how I glorify God, da da da.
Mm-hmm.
But God wants the simple things, and that goes back to Matthew 5:3. If we're supposed to be like God, God shows what His character is, and that's Matthew 5:3 is to be poor in spirit.
Yeah.
So why would God want these big everything when it's easy to go to those places, but He calls for your life at times and the very small, giving your 2 cents, giving your 2 coins.
Yeah.
So just correlate everything back to this.
Which also goes back to Jesus being baptized.
Yeah. God said so. If I'm going to be obedient to Him, then I need to do that. Now, even to the point that Reese was making in the things that he was bringing up that they're trying to do. So one of the arguments that people will oftentimes throw at us when it comes to needing to be immersed in water for the remission of sins, a common argument will be thrown out, well, do you think God really needs your help when it comes to saving you? Now here's the reason why I bring that up. What do you think people are doing today with their worship assemblies and all these different gimmicks and gadgets and great speakers and fog machines and lights and food and all that kind of stuff? Coffee and donuts and programs for the kids so as to, we need to do this so as to draw people in. Oh, does God need your help? Does God need your worldly experience so as to bring people in? Is His way not good enough? And that is, if people are wanting to be fed spiritually, then you set the table with spiritual food, and those that want it, they'll come. Like Reese said, simple, basic kind of stuff. The world around us just does not realize what they're doing. And that they would look at us and just say, well, you're not doing enough. Oh no, we're doing plenty. Because we are doing what God said to do. Throw your net out on the right side. Notice He didn't say, well, pull your net in, spread it out. Like He didn't give them this long laundry list of anoint it with oil and do this, pray over it, blah, blah, blah. Just cast it out on the right side.
Just throw it.
Yeah. Just throw it out. No aim, no direction. Just do this. Yeah. All right. How simple the commands of God are. And then we have to come in the way and complicate it. So when we start trying to put... Or let me back up a second. All right, so why would casting on the right side catch fish? Well, because Jesus said that it would. So Jesus says do this, and they follow it by trust. And here's another key element. When we do what Jesus says, I am trusting Him. I am not trusting in myself. For anybody to look at what the apostles are doing here and say, well, they're just trusting in their own experience. They're just trusting in their own work to have the fish be caught. They had been trusting in themselves all night long and caught nothing. Now Jesus shows up and says, well, do this. All right, I'm trusting you. So we have a huge manipulation going on by the religious world around us. When they try to throw the accusation on us, oh, if you're attaching baptism, you're trusting in yourself. No. Jesus told us to do this. I'm trusting Him. And even that Baptist guy that we went to go listen to over here in Ronan, he got himself in trouble with his 2 chairs illustration and how it is that you trust Jesus. Well, if I trust Jesus, then I've got to sit completely over in this chair. Oh, you got to do something? Exactly. They get it.
Yeah, because He even said you can't sit on both.
That's right.
You have to go all the way over.
So when we start trying to put our own wisdom on things that Jesus says, that's where we start getting ourselves in trouble. Oh, there must be something holy about the right side from the left. Nope. There's something miraculous in the water. Nope. We are obeying this simply because Jesus said to do it. And then even, so as we're thinking about this from the standpoint of the baptism argument, if their connection to salvation is true and accurate, well, their understanding of this situation should be, well, Jesus said for them to do that because they'd already caught the fish. You can't have man involved. You can't have man doing anything so as to gain what God wants to give. Otherwise, it's not a gift, right? But look at this illustration. Jesus is going to give them an abundance of fish. Did they have to do something first? Sure did. The gift was there. The fish were there waiting. They had to wait for Jesus' command and then obey it. Then they'd receive the gift. So just carry it even further in aligning this over salvation. Okay, Jesus told them to cast on the right side because they'd already caught the fish. How ridiculous. Jesus is implementing a lesson for them, and He's implementing a lesson for us. You do what I say by faith, and you'll receive the reward. This is how grace works. And He's teaching them this lesson because He's about to leave. And when He leaves, what danger are they going to be in when it comes to them thinking about the work that they're fixing to do?
What's the danger in them doing the work when He leaves?
They're thinking about the work when He leaves.
We can't do it.
All right? Either number one, we can't do it, or what's number two? Think about the Pharisees. What was their problem?
Yeah, that you can't do it without me doing it. Or they start, oh yeah, this is me doing this.
Okay. Look at what I'm accomplishing. Look at what we're able to do. And that's what Paul has to write to the Corinthian brethren about when it came to the miraculous gifts. How is it that you came about these gifts? They weren't just internal, inside of you. They didn't just come out of you. They were given to you. So now what about this work of the apostles?
Think about what Jesus said about don't worry about when you get put in front of kings and whatever.
Yep.
If they start trusting in themselves, what are they going to have to
Yep.
speak with?
Right?
Right? Jesus said don't worry because the Holy Spirit will guide you, speak for you.
So I think this goes to the point that Rachel made about provisions are being met. Who are they still having to rely on? God. Okay, you've come this far, and yeah, you've made these accomplishments, but you are still dependent on me to give you what you need. So this is a lesson for them not to get too big for the britches. There's a humbling effect that's going on all around here. Verse 7, therefore that disciple whom Jesus loved saith unto Peter, it is the Lord. Now when Simon Peter heard that it was the Lord, he girded his father's coat unto him, for he was naked, and he cast himself into the sea. Now, we have it stated before, Jesus is on the shore. They don't know that it's Jesus. Now this happens, and John has the recollection, and he recognizes, oh, this is the Lord. Why do you think that switch? Which we've already talked about it.
Because they caught something.
All right, we caught something, but is it just the catching of the fish alone?
The memory of, oh, this happened before.
Okay, yeah, this is that deja vu moment. Here's a miraculous event. And it's a miraculous event that they've already experienced. Luke chapter 5 and verse 4. Now when he had left speaking, he said unto Simon, launch out into the deep, and let down your nets for a draught. Simon answering said unto him, Master, we have toiled all the night and have taken nothing. Nevertheless, at thy word I will let down the net. And when they had done this, they enclosed a great multitude of fishes, and their net brake. And they beckoned unto their partners which were in the other ship that they should come and help them. And they came and filled both the ships, so that they began to sink. When Simon Peter saw it, he fell down at Jesus' knees, saying, Depart from me, for I am a sinful man, O Lord. For he was astonished at all that were with him at the draught of the fishes which they had taken. So they had already learned their lesson. When somebody comes along and gives you some advice, you know what? You should take it. At least try it. What are you going to lose?
They almost lost the net.
Yeah. You're rewarded so much, you almost sunk 2 ships. And as Jamie mentioned at the beginning, there's a little bit of lip coming from Peter. Master. So he acknowledges who he's talking to. We've already been doing this all night, but okay, if you want to, fine. I would say there's a bit of hesitation here. Resignation on the part of Peter. Having gone through that, and now witnessing through the crucifixion and Christ rising from the dead, here's a change in Peter. Advice is given, no lip, no rebuttal. Okay, do it. And how important that's going to be for Peter when it comes to Acts chapter 10.
Still gives lip.
Well, he doesn't, it's not, I would argue it's not the same kind of thing here. That there's a bit of caution on Peter's part because, hey, this is something God had commanded. You don't eat this stuff.
So he's testing the spirit.
Testing the spirit. I've not eaten of this. Okay, fine. But what I call clean, you don't call common. Has to be shown it 3 times. Still doesn't get it. When the men show up, no lip. Go.
The rooster fell down from heaven.
Huh?
The rooster fell down from heaven.
Right, yeah. It's me again. So then verse 10 of Luke's account. And so was also James and John, the sons of Zebedee, sons of thunder, are here, which were partners with Simon. Jesus saith unto Simon, Fear not, from henceforth thou shalt catch men. And when they had brought their ships to land, they forsook all and followed him. So here's the occasion when they first were called. Now, after the resurrection, they're being called again. And it's in the same manner. It's in the same fashion. Oh, we've been here before. And that's all by design. What a humbling experience to be this far in your progress, but then to be brought all the way back to the beginning.
I would say, not just humbling, but what about Jesus is showing to them their own growth,
Oh, right, yeah.
so they can see it themselves.
Yeah, remember where you were here, and now look at you here. Absolutely. And even with that, there's a lesson for us in that, okay, when we look back on where we were, we're looking back, even as what was recorded in Ephesians chapter 2. Okay, you were without God, you were in sin, you're uncircumcised, no hope. Okay, all right, yeah, I remember that. And that creates feelings of shame, remorse, and embarrassment. But is that all? Is that the only way that we should look at our past and our shortcomings?
No.
All right, what's the other side?
We've grown.
All right, victory. Look at what you've overcome.
Joy.
Joy, peace, and comfort. Yeah, when you first started this, you didn't want to listen right away. Now look at you. Way to go.
My mind goes back to all three of us hiking Mud Lakes when we went over Amelia's place the first time.
Yeah.
And right off the gate, it was strenuous. It hurt everything, and then it might have been the time. Yeah, it might have been the time that you're like, wait, you guys do this for fun? But then, what is at the top of the mountain? What you've overcome, and what's there for you, waiting for you. Same thing with this. It's just looking back at your past. It shouldn't be this, oh yeah, well, I started, I wasn't doing so good, and da-da-da. It's what I've overcome, where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah. You can look back on it with fondness. And so yeah, even with that hiking illustration, you're starting out painful, but then you get up there and you see the benefit of it. And then what about when you get back down and you get back to the place where you started? Are you thinking about how much it hurt? Are you thinking about how terrible it was to start? No, you're still thinking about what it was like to be up there.
I'm kind of happy that I got back to the truck.
Oh yeah, I mean the pain sets in, but it's just, it's one of those.
Crying.
Yeah, it's one of those things of,
Happy joys.
yeah, accomplishment. Okay, the trip's over.
They're happy tears.
Yeah. So here we are at this state. Yeah, look at how far we've come. We fell short. We didn't start out good, but here we are. And they're ready to move on from this to even bigger and better things, just as Jesus said they would. And that's what we need to do. Yeah, there's been trials, there's been turmoil with us working together. Not all of it was pretty. Some struggles with it. Okay, but here we are. Look at how far we've gotten. And then there's more for us to do. There's further for us still to go. All right, we made it this far. We can go a little bit further. And you just keep pressing on.
Stay the course.
So we'll stop there in verse 17. And we're gonna take some time to go through this. I don't know if it, in people's reading, if it brought up any questions as to why this is being described.
He was naked.
But
because John just keeps dogging on Peter.
yeah, it's weird. It is very weird how John just keeps throwing these points out at Peter, but it's there, so we'll deal with it.
Well, I was going to say that, it's funny that you said that. I was going to say that John actually gave him praise, because last time, the ones who Jesus loved made it to the tomb first. It's like, well, now Peter's jumping in the water for, I'll go see Jesus first. But
Just trying to race him and get the head start.
Well, it's almost if that is true, it's a backhanded compliment, because, okay, yeah, he jumped out of the boat and got to Jesus first, but he was naked. And so, yeah, but and that's just a joke. I don't really think that's what John was doing, but you can study ahead on it. We'll talk about it. Did I say 17?
Yep.
Sorry, 7. Pick on verse 7 next time. Any thoughts, questions?
I think that was Maddie's comment about the provision. It wasn't mine.
Huh?
I think Maddie made the comment about provision. I don't think that's my comment.
Oh, yeah, that's right, she did.
She's giving glory for where glory's at.
That's good.
I would have taken it.
Yeah, okay. That's good. All right.